Do scandals and controversies make a match interesting? Well, Didier Drogba certainly didn't think so when he called Tom Henning Ovrebo a disgrace. Unfortunately, there have been a few scandalous matches over the years. Number 1. Madrid Mayhem. Real Madrid had beaten Bayern Munich 2-1 in the first leg of the 2016-2017 Champions League quarter-final in Germany. Bayern needed to win the second leg. In the 53rd minute, Lewandowski scored a penalty. He then had a chance to double his goal tally in the 66th minute after latching onto a brilliant through ball, but the flag went up. Offside, the linesman ruled. Lewandowski protested that Marcelo had kept him on, and he was right. The linesman had a shocker and still had more shockers in store. Painfully for Bayern, Ronaldo scored in the 77th minute. Fortunately, Ramos scored an own goal and the momentum was with Bayern again. In the 79th minute, Casemiro cynically brought down Robben and Bayern believed Casemiro should have gotten a second yellow card. The incident happened right in front of the linesman and the referee himself had a direct line of the side to the challenge, and still no card. Arturo Vidal stopped a Marco Asensio counter with a clean sliding tackle and got the ball, but afterwards he clipped Asensio's foot, resulting in a second yellow card. Bayern's night of misery was far from over though. The game went to extra time and in the 105th minute, Ronaldo scored. In this era of VAR, that goal wouldn't have stood. Ronaldo was acres offside and none of the officials saw it. Bayern couldn't believe their eyes, but one more unbelievable moment was coming. Ronaldo scored another offside goal. Marcelo glided past Bayern players and passed to Ronaldo, who was coming from an offside position. Bayern protested, but Real got away with the win and would eventually win the Champions League that season. And it would be the second one in their three-peat run. 2. The worst refereeing display ever? It was the road to the 2008-2009 Champions League final, and the stakes were high. After a draw at the Camp Nou in the first leg, both teams had everything to play for at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea put a foot in the final with an incredible Michael Essien shot in the 9th minute of the game. The Blues would try to double their advantage, but it looked like Barcelona had an extra player. The extra player being Tom Henning Ovrebo. After Chelsea's goal, they had a penalty shout when Dani Alves brought down Flora Malouda inside the penalty box. Ovrebo had a different view of events and ruled for a free kick. This is a seemingly common and innocent mistake to us, but it looks pretty clear it was in the box. What do you think? Another penalty incident arose when Eric Abidal brought Didier Drogba down again in the box. Drogba had been trying to latch onto a Lampard pass before the challenge. Again, the referee waved it off, and the Chelsea players were already losing it. Unfortunately for them, the night was still young. Despite the calls not favouring them, Chelsea kept on pushing, desperate for one more goal. Maybe the most blatant of them all was Nicolas Anelka flicked the ball onto Piqué's clearly outstretched arm, which the referee still didn't give. Eventually, something favoured Chelsea that night, as Eric Abidal got a red card. Unfortunately, Chelsea couldn't capitalise on the advantage. 2 minutes before time, goalscorer Essien failed to clear his lines and allowed Messi to square the ball to Iniesta, who was just outside the box. Iniesta let fly an absolute beauty of a shot Petr Cech couldn't get anywhere near. Iniesta had ruined the night for Chelsea fans with Barcelona's first shot on target. However, there was still one more horrific moment for Chelsea that night. A last corner was flung in by Frank Lampard where Michael Ballack volleyed the ball towards goal, and this time it was Samuel Eto'o who again had the ball hit his arm while trying to block the shot, and Chelsea screamed for a penalty. It was what they needed to turn the night around, but they were shocked when the referee waved it off. This is the incident that prompted Ballack to chase the ref down the pitch like a maniac. After the final whistle, Barcelona went through on away goals and Chelsea were inconsolable. Drogba yelled at the camera, calling the ref a disgrace, and Bosingwa called Ovrebo a blatant thief. Drogba and Jose Bosingwa were banned for their actions. The Ivorian got 3 matches and the Portuguese 2. Ovrebo would eventually own up to his mistakes and reveal that the match tanked his career, as he would later not get the Champions League matches ever again. Barcelona were the only winners from this situation, as they went on to win the Champions League that season. Number 3, Hand of God. a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God, Diego Maradona provocatively said after the infamous match of 1986. It was another quarter-final between England and Argentina, but there was nothing to split them in the first half. Then, Diego Maradona made magic a few minutes into the second half. After Steve Hodge cleared the ball towards his own keeper, Maradona ran towards the ball and used his left fist, disguised as a header, to lob the ball over England's goalkeeper. The English players, fans and coach expected the goal to be ruled as a foul, but to their shock, the ref gave it as a goal. Fans and players alike looked on in disbelief, but it was only the beginning of their misery. Later on in the match, Maradona would produce another moment of incredible magic, and this time, no hands were involved. He dribbled past several England players from his own half before slotting the ball into the bottom left. The match ended with England hating Maradona, but with Argentina eventually lifting the World Cup, we're sure Maradona didn't care too much about what people thought of him. 4. Hand of Henry. After beating Ireland in Dublin in the World Cup qualifiers, France had done half their job to get a spot in the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. They needed a draw in their home game to go through, but things didn't go as planned. Ireland produced an equaliser through Robbie Keane, and the French team crumbled. The match went into extra time and looked like it would be Ireland's for the taking. And then, in the first half of extra time, Henry took the initiative. After a Florent Malouda free kick looked to be going out for a goal kick, Thierry Henry, maybe unintentionally, used his hand to keep the ball in play before squaring it for William Gallas, who nodded it in from 2 yards out. The Irish players screamed and yelled for a handball, but the referee ignored their pleas and insisted that France had scored a legitimate goal. The Irish were devastated. Henry stole a leaf from Maradona's book, but unlike the 1986 Argentina team, France wouldn't win the 2010 World Cup. They wouldn't even pass the group stages as they lost to Mexico and South Africa. Ireland could take a little joy in that, but the injustice they suffered must still sting. 5. Italian Fury. This match must still anger the Italians. They pulled up to the 2002 World Cup with a team many called Italy's golden generation. They had world-class talents like Alessandro Nesta, Fabio Cannavaro, and even Gianluigi Buffon, all in their prime. The Italians finished the group stage relatively easily and got matched up with South Korea. Italy had a shocking exit from the 1966 World Cup at the hands of North Korea, and they were determined not to let history repeat itself. Unfortunately, it did, but it wasn't the Italians' fault. They played well and even scored what should have been a golden goal that would have helped them qualify for the next round. The referee, however, disallowed that goal, and the horror show didn't stop there. The South Koreans hacked down Del Piero, Zambrotta and Maldini, but the referee looked away and didn't punish them. However, when Totti dived in the match, the referee sent him off. Unfortunately, Jung Hwan scored for South Korea and they beat Italy with that golden goal. The Italians were furious, but they were powerless. Another refereeing disaster. Football can be unfair, and the teams on the wrong side of this list have a right to be aggravated. From Maradona's hand of God to Ovrebo's hellish UCL night, which one of these scandalous moments do you think would have hurt the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support our channel.